When you package an InDesign file, basically what you're doing is you're pressing a button that will automatically export your InDesign file, a PDF of that InDesign file, an IDML file, which will open in earlier versions of InDesign, and also all of the assets that are in the project. So for instance, this is my latest print project. It's a 4-panel brochure for STEM careers. And you can see that I have my logo image files, I have lots of graphics, I have QR codes, which are actually from InDesign itself. You can do that in the object, insert QR code if you want to. But I have a lot of assets in here. And if you look in the links panel, you can see I have Photoshop files, Adobe Illustrator files. This shows that I've used the same file in 2 different locations, which you can see here. And I have all of these different white stripes, which again, you can see here, 3 different white stripes. But if you look at my actual project folder, it looks like I have like 8,000 different files. Well, obviously that's an exaggeration. And when I design stuff, I have an idea in my head and I work on it and I keep working on it. And as I get review from the people I'm making this for, they might want me to swap out images, or they might say, I actually want these to be like 1-tone color. And so you can see I have a bunch of different files as I worked through that design process. Now, I can't send all of these files to the professional printer that I'm sending it to. I need to send them the InDesign file and only the assets that are actually in that file. They don't need all this other stuff. But for me, they could all be in this folder, but things like the logo are actually in a logo folder. So I just don't want to spend all that time going and looking and finding all of those assets and putting it in a folder. Well, InDesign knows that this is a process that needs to happen for any professional printer, is to the ability to send the entire package, not just the final PDF. So it has done a really cool, or it has added a feature called package that you can package all of those files automatically. So when I go to package it, you can see that it's not saved right here by the asterisk that you see up here. And I did that on purpose so that you can see what would happen if you hadn't saved any changes that you made at this point. But this summary is telling me that I have 7 different fonts that are used in this file. And it's telling me I don't have any issues with the fonts. Sometimes you'll have an issue, like if you download a font from a website and you didn't pay to use that font and it's not for commercial use, it might block that font. For my links and images, it says there are 11 links found. 4 of them are embedded and 0 use RGB color space. You can use RGB color space if you're printing just to a basic desktop printer, but if you're sending it to a professional printer, then all of your photos and all of your assets should be in the CMYK color space. So if I had that issue, I could come over here to links and images and it'll tell me the specific images I had in my file that are using the RGB color space that I need to then open into Photoshop and convert to the CMYK color space. But I already know that's a thing that InDesign requires and that my printer requires, so I make sure to always make sure these are CMYK in the first place. So it doesn't look like I have any issues happening here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click package. Now it says it must be saved before continuing, and we hit save. Another thing is if for some reason you had text that was hidden and sitting outside of a box because maybe the text box you resized but then it's hiding some text, it might give you an error here saying that you had hidden text and you'd need to go through your document and see where that hidden text was. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And then what it's going to do is it's going to say, okay, where do you want to create this package folder? So it makes sense to put it in the project folder. So I'm going to go find that folder, which of course is like 85 deep right here. So actually, I think I have a copy of it on the desktop. STEM Careers Brochure. There we go. So I want to copy it in there. I'm going to call it STEM Careers Brochure folder. I'm not going to change any name right now. You can if you want to, but just know that this is the only time you can change this folder name. If after the fact you want to change it, it's going to break all the links to the assets that are in there and it'll cause chaos for the printer. So if you're going to change it now. And then I'm going to make sure that I want a copy of the fonts so that it includes all the fonts in case I used unique ones that the printer doesn't have on their computer. I do want to copy the linked graphics so that again, they have all the images they need and it doesn't cause me time or cost me time and money for them to contact me and say, hey, the logo's not working. Can you send us the logo? And then we want to update the graphic links in the package. And then I always include the IDML and the PDF. Again, this is for just regular PDF printing, and IDML, I believe, is for older versions of InDesign. So then you can also select a PDF preset. So mine is on the name badge that I create for the college that I work at. So I want to make sure it's at a high quality print, or for me, I know that my printer, Pioneer Press in Greeley, has specific settings that they want. So I have already saved that to my computer so that I don't have to mess with those settings. So I'm going to choose the Pioneer Press flat export. And again, that's a preset that I created. So for you, you probably just choose high quality print. Okay, so there we go. I think once we have made sure those are all checked and we made sure it's going to the right place and it has a correct folder name, we're going to click package. And what's going to happen is now it's going to create a folder inside of my project, my big project folder. And this is the folder that I need to send to the printer. So let's see what this looks like. If we look at this, you can see that now it has the InDesign file, the IDML file, a PDF file, and then it's saying any assets that are actually in the brochure are these, however many assets are, like 7 or 8. So put those all in the links. And then in document fonts, it's saying that I used a font called Friends, a font called Helvetica Neue, and then this is just the Adobe fonts list. So it included all of those fonts in case the printer has to open up my InDesign file. Maybe I misspelled a word and they just want to fix it real quick. And what if they don't have the Friends font? Well, now they can install the Friends font on their computer and they can open my InDesign file, fix that misspelled word, save it, and then be able to print it. So it's going to save a lot of time and money to be able to have all these assets for them. Now the problem becomes, how do I actually send this to the printer? Now, if you have like a Google Drive or any other kind of cloud drive, usually you can just drag the folder in there and it'll take everything with it. But it needs this exact structure. You can't take the fonts out of the folder. You can't send one link at a time and then have it work. It needs to keep the same structure with 2 folders with their assets inside and then these 3. So what you normally need to do is you normally need to zip or compress this folder. Now I'm on a Mac, so it's a little bit different for a PC, but I'm going to right click and choose compress to create that zip folder. Now for PC people, I believe you right click it and there's an option that says send to, and then it's going to pull off a little window over here that says compressed or zip folder. So just click that and it should compress everything in that folder. You can see it's working through compressing all of it, and it's a big file because I had high quality photos in there. So now this zip file is the one that I need to upload or send to the printer. So for the purposes of your packaging assignment, what's going to happen is now that you've zipped that folder, let me see if I can find our class. Okay. So this is a student example assignment, so I wanted to make sure that you could upload a zip file. So I'm going to click add a file, and then I'll choose my computer, and then I'll either upload by clicking here, or I'm just going to drop this zip file right in here. So now it also says you can only upload a maximum of 2 gigabytes, so thankfully mine is only like 170 or whatever we saw. So it's going to load the whole way, and then once that goes, we can click add and then hit submit. So now when I or the printer get it, like if you're using this really for a printer, we just have to double click to uncompress the folder and the file structure is in place, and we should be able to open up any of your InDesign files, your font files, your image files, and make sure that you can have a good high quality print quickly and easily by using the package feature.